Hi everybody, good afternoon. This is Jean here, Jean Truelove from Truelove Quilts for you. Again, I'm sitting at my computer. I have been doing some sewing. Oh, maybe you can see back here on my design tablecloth, my design wall, I've been experimenting with two little round table toppers. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any tutorials on them, but one is padded with batting, the blue and the little red one, and then the cream one up the top, and the yellow is using interfacing. I may or may not be doing a tutorial on them. I was just messing about, but they're quite pretty for my little small little either wall hangings or table toppers. But right now, one of my last videos, I had said that I had been gifting a tremendous amount of quilts many years ago, more than I have lately because of life circumstances. And I had gone back on my computer and I actually found some photographs of different quilts that I had given, with or without the story or the picture of the recipient. But I did take several pictures. As you know, I was looking at my Etsy shop, which is on vacation, defunct now, and I sold over 400 quilts. And I've given away about 150, I believe. And I'm not going to go over all that, but what I'm going to be doing right now is just doing a little quilt show and tell of. Some of you may have seen these already. I may have shared some of these with you guys who have been following me for a while. I know the Doctor Who quilt that I had made, Malia, our daughter, and some of the other little ones. But I just thought for you who are new here, who are just subscribing or just following along and watching me, these are quilts that I didn't sell, that I have given away and or have a little story to them. So I don't know where to begin. I had just put a whole bunch. I had just taken them screenshots, some of them off of my computer, so some of them have like a little screen. You must excuse the quality of the photograph. Where should I start? I'm going to start on the top row here. Oh, our one son, Dominic, number 4 son. No, was he number 4? Oh yeah, yeah, he is number 4 son. About 8 years ago, when our grandson Striker was born, I made a quilt for them, and I will be putting that. I'm looking at my computer screen because I just uploaded them to my computer. I did a quilt out of my own head. I think that was let me just see, was that half square triangles or something? A little Captain Truelove, because they had just gotten off sailing the Caribbean and the whole east coast of America for a year. They lived on a sailboat, and that was them. Now they have 4 children, and they are landlubbers right now. So that was. I'll put the pictures up here, and these are the pictures that I had gifted this little quilt for our grandson Striker. Let me see. Oh, our daughter-in-law, Caitlin, 4 years ago was having her first baby. Our son Jean-Pierre, number 6 son Jean-Pierre, was having Warren 4 years ago, and I had made Caitlin, and I'll put it up here, a quilt, the Phantom of the Opera. She loved the Phantom of the Opera quilt. I'll try to put these up in the order. She loved this quilt before she had a baby, when they had first gotten married, and then when she had baby Warren, of course, I didn't realize it, they took it to hospital. So here are a couple pictures of the quilt that she loved at hospital, and with baby Warren wrapped up in it. His first quilt. That was just so lovely. And then when he was born, I think if you remember, we did have a gender reveal, and Warren Langston was going to be born, and I had made them. I knew what they were having, and I had made the quilt for them and a little pillow, and that's here, and I believe I did share that with you. And then 4 years later, Warren just loving his little quilt. The letters have fallen off. They were just stick-on letters on the little pillow, but he goes to bed with that every night. That is the sweetest thing, dear little Warren. Oh, and let me just see. Many years ago, again, you know, our granddaughter Haley. We have 19 grandchildren, and have they all gotten a quilt? I think they've all gotten a quilt somewhere along the way. But Haley, who is now 12, Jordan, number 3 son, he asked if we would make a quilt, not particularly a baby quilt, but they were into minky and really soft like velours for their family room. So I made this quilt, this blue and brown quilt for them, and that's Haley and Levi on their little quilt. That's just so sweet. This was lovely. Another grandchildren. We have our first son, Luke. Number 1 son, 12 years ago, had identical twin girls, Phoebe and Riel, and I had made Amy and Luke for the baby girls, just a little tiny pink and white quilt. I made 2 of them. They're slightly different. And so here's a picture of them as babies on the quilt. That was just so lovely. And her theme was sort of gray and pink and white, as you can see, the identical girls. And then, about 8 or 9 years later, now the girls are 12. So a couple of years ago, Amy took another picture of them on the quilt as growing little girls. They still have that quilt. I think that's just so lovely. I really do. And there's another picture. They're just coming. I'm just looking on my computer. I won't go on too long because you'll get bored, but there's another picture of Haley when Haley was about 3. She loved strawberry shortcake, so I made her a quilt. There's a little picture of that, of Haley's quilt. I do believe I shared this with you before. Our daughter Malia she's number 8. Our daughter Malia, our only daughter, she had gone to France. They travel a lot, and she had just gotten back from Paris. So I did a Paris quilt. That was super, super easy. I made a lot of quilts back then with panels. I like panels because you just make a panel, you flush it out, and you have a quilt. Especially a specific panel for somebody who's been somewhere or who likes something. So that was her little Paris quilt. Panel there, and then she sent me the email somewhere here that I'm going to put up of her laying under the quilt. That was so sweet of her. Trying to look what else. Something very special. This was about 18 years ago. We had a very, very, very close friends, Josh and Gretchen. And Josh and Gretchen, Joshua was from Nigeria, and he, according to Nigerian culture, the uncle, I believe it was, had the privilege or the blessing to name his nieces or nephews. Now, Josh lived in America, but his family lived back in Nigeria, and his niece was born, and he came up with the name Melody for his niece, and he asked me if I would make a quilt. Now this is maybe about 18 years ago, if I would make a quilt. And again, back then I had an embroidery machine, so I made the quilt Melody, and I tried to, he wanted it sort of African looking. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know about African fabric, but as you can see, this is the quilt that I came. And he hand carried that back to his tribe, back to his people, his family, for the naming ceremony of his niece. And he presented the quilt. Don't have a picture of that, but I do have a picture of Josh and Gretchen and Ian and I in our old house holding it up. Sadly, about 4 years ago, Josh passed away tragically. A hospital accident gone wrong, operation. Tragic. He was one of our dearest friends, dear Josh. So this picture's so very special to me, and that I had an opportunity and a part in naming somebody in Africa, Melody, and I embroidered her name. It's just so lovely. I'm just trying to see what else is here. I do think you remember when our friend, 5 years ago it was, when Columba from Italy came and visited. Lovely Italian, just so wonderful. I have it on video of me gifting this quilt to Columba. When she was with us for a month, I would go into for work, and she would be busy in the kitchen or with the kids or something, and I was making her this quilt because she loved roses and she loved shabby chic, and I videotaped her, or I videotaped me giving her the quilt, but these are just 2 still pictures of the quilt that I gifted to Columba. That was really very sweet. Just trying to look again. Oh, very interesting. I had made this guitar quilt here from a pattern. I believe it was a Craftsy pattern, which you can't get anymore. With jelly rolls, you can see the sort of negative and positive image of this guitar. Sort of a famous pattern. I made it 15 years ago or so, 10, 15 years ago. And I had it for sale, but it didn't sell in my Etsy shop. And then when I stopped my Etsy shop, I just folded it up and had it here. In fact, I had it in this room about 3 months ago. The grandchildren, Phoebe and Riel, were in my room all looking at things, and I had pulled out this quilt to refold, and it was Phoebe, or was it Riel? No, it was Phoebe, who said, "Oh, I love that quilt." I said, "Well, you can have this quilt then." So she got another quilt. So she got the guitar quilt. And I don't have a picture of her with it. Again, I just gave it to her. I'm like, "Oh, you love it so much." So that was the guitar quilt that I made. Another very special, I did sell this one, but it was a very special, this quilt here, this butterfly, again, panel, or 2 panels it was, of this like watercolor with butterflies, black and white metamorphosing in color. I really loved the pattern, and I came up again with the checkerboard, going from black and white to color. I really liked this quilt a lot, and I sold it. I sold it in my shop fairly quickly, and I got a picture back from the customer who had it hanging in her foyer. She collected butterfly things with a lovely note. Now I do, in my Etsy shop, which is now, as I say, defunct, I do have over 200 5-star reviews of the quilts that I've sold. But again, these are quilts that I've made and I've gifted. Trying to see what else. Oh, I was on a kick. Oh, when was it? About 7 years ago, maybe 8, 9 years ago, of sewing together squares. And then with you've seen me do it before, I pull up a vector, which is like a silhouette, an image of something. And then I would sort of transpose the silhouette onto a pattern, onto fabric, and then I would applicate that onto just squares. I was just doing squares. I did 3 of them. I gave away 2. No, I gave away 1 and I sold 2, but to friends. The one was Keep Calm and, I believe that was it. I can't see it, it's real little, but it's here. Keep Calm and Pray. I did with praying hands. I did that one. And then my son, number 6, oops, my computer went up. He wanted a quilt for his little niece on his wife's side. So I did she loved the movie Frozen. So I did that one. I think that's Keep Calm, and I can't see it, but it's right here. Keep Calm and whatever it is, it's right here. I can't see the little one, but you'll be able to see it right here. So that was gifted. And then the next one was, I came up with something, Marry the Beast and Keep the Library, or something like that. And then I did the silhouette of the Beauty and the Beast on the red. And a friend of mine in Virginia, she actually purchased that. She really loved that quilt. That was very sweet of her. Oh, I have so many more, but I don't want this to go on too long. It's going on long enough. Maybe I'll do another video. Oh, I had made a quilt for, again, 18 years ago or so, 15, 18 years ago, I had embroidered some beautiful Japanese embroidery back in the early 80s, 90s, and I had them framed beautifully, geisha girls. I was sort of not into the Japanese motif or the Asian Oriental motif, but I liked it. Anyway, our daughter-in-law's, Janae's mother, Dolores, she had come for a get-together, someone, and she loved these embroideries of these geisha girls, and so I got in the mindset of like, maybe I'll find some fabric, which I have some panels, and I'll make her a quilt, because she loved my quilts and she loved the Asian theme. So this is the quilt that, I guess it was just the we went over to their home again. I had just given it away 15 years ago, and we went over about a year ago, and I said her quilt was right there. She said, I love my quilt. So I took a picture of it recently, of the quilt, because I completely forgot what it looked like. So there's a quilt with Dolores. She loves her Asian quilt. Oh, I have so many more. The Maxwell was in tech school, and he had a really good teacher, and he said, oh, he loves motorcycles and Harley Davidsons. Would you make him a quilt, Mom? So Mr. O got a quilt, and I think I have shared that with you before. That was really very, very sweet. Again, I have a few dozen more, so I'll do that in the next video. I hope you've enjoyed this. Yeah, and there's not just quilts. Oh, and I'll wrap up. Our daughter, our son's little girl, Juliet, who's 11 years old, she, I also made her a baby quilt, and this was her baby quilt that I gifted, that they sent a picture of. Oh, there's so many more. Anyway, that'll be it. I just hope you've enjoyed this little quilt show and tell of the quilts that I've gifted. Boy, I was prolific. I truly was prolific. I was raising family and at home. Oh my goodness, I have so many more, and there's few stories. So if you've enjoyed this, I'll do it again. I have not forgotten about my next project. Is going to be putting together the fabric hut, the Whispering Pines. I'm going to be putting it up on my design wall. Again, if you like these little, they're pretty cool to make. I saw a picture on Pinterest. There's no pattern. I figured it out, and then I embellished it with the bias tape. But that's not a beginner skill to make these. It's not hard, but it's fiddly. So tell me if you like them. One is padded with batting, and one just has interfacing. You can make them whatever size you want. But my next video, or coming soon, will be my tutorial, or my video of putting together the Whispering Pines quilt kit, pre-cut quilt kit from the Fabric Hut. And again, there will be 2 winners for that, for the entire kit. Ricardo from the Fabric Hut will be sending something worldwide, international, that I pick, and then I will be sending a complete kit. The kit has all of the pre-cut fabrics, all of the batting, all of the backing, all of the binding, everything you need except the batting, and fabulous value. So I'll put a picture of that. That's going to be my next video, probably, on my design wall here. So anyway, been busy, but I just thought this was sort of a blast from the past, and I really wanted to share that with you guys. So I'm going to edit this and put it all together, and as I said, I have maybe a couple dozen more, so I'll do it again. So thanks so very much, folks, for all of your interest, and yeah, for following along. I do appreciate it. All right, have a lovely day, everybody. Love from the Trueloves. See ya.